This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now, that little solo there that we opened the video with was played over the top of the chord sequence that I put under the microscope and sort of explained in Wednesday's video, which, if you don't know by now, every Wednesday I'm doing a video which is part of a series on different types of chord sequences and how they work. If you didn't see that video, I'll link to it down in the description box. And basically, it's all very well being able to play the chord sequence, but what do you do when it comes to soloing over the top of it? Well, that's what today's video is all about. So here's a bit of an explanation as to the different approaches I used in that solo. Here it is. Okay then, as always, it's all down to the chord sequence, so we'll take a look at what's going on there. We covered this chord sequence in some depth in Wednesday's video, but here's a brief recap. Basically, we've got two sections to the track, what I'm going to call the A section and the B section. And both sections rely upon keeping a bass note just static and constant and then hanging chords from whatever key you're in on top of that bass note. The A section is in the key of A, but we're centering it on the E chord in the key of A. You can see there are the chords there. We've got an E chord, a D chord over an E bass, an A chord over an E bass, oops, and C sharp minor over E, B minor over E, F sharp minor over E, and back to E chord again. And played together, that's going to sound like this: 2, 3, 4. That's basically the chord sequence we're playing over in the A section, and as I say, we're in the key of A, but everything is centered on the E note, the 5 chord, or the E chord, the 5 chord in the key of A, so we're in the Mixolydian mode. So if you're in the Mixolydian mode, well, one thing you can do is you can just recognise the fact that what we've got here is an E major tonality. And you could use E major pentatonic. There it is on screen, and it maps out in various patterns along the neck like this. So E major pentatonic. And over the top of that A section chord sequence, E major pentatonic sounded like this. So there you go, a credible sound just using the simple E major pentatonic. The next thing you can do is you can start to add in some extra notes from the chords. We've got a D chord in here. which obviously has a D note in there, and we've got an A chord in here, which obviously has an A note in there. So when you add A's and D's into an E major pentatonic, you get the E Mixolydian mode, which might look like this. And mapping those Mixolydian mode patterns out along the neck like that, you can string them all together and play them over the top of the chord sequence, and it might sound like this. And after two repetitions of that A section chord sequence, we now go to the B section. And the B section is where we change key. As I explained in the video on Wednesday, there was no rhyme or reason to the key that I changed to. Literally just plucked one out of the air. I went from the key of A major, focusing on its 5 chord, which is E, gives us E Mixolydian mode, to the key of G major, this time focusing on the 4 chord, which is C. And there you can see the chord sequence on screen there. When you do this, when you focus on the 4 chord in a key, you are said to be in the Lydian mode. And this is what the B section chord sequence sounds like. 2, 3, 4. So there you go, that's the B section chord sequence, and you can hear that it very, very nicely resolves to that C major chord there. So over the top of this, you could use C major pentatonic. There it is on screen, and once again, that will map out along the neck in these patterns. There you go, C major pentatonic. And you can use C major pentatonic over that C Lydian chord sequence as it is, and it sounded like this. But you can also add in the missing modal notes. Essentially the D chord there has an F sharp note in it. Okay, so you can add that into your C major pentatonic, and the G chord has a B note in it, so you can add that into your C major pentatonic. So C major pentatonic with added B's and F sharps gives us the C Lydian mode. There it is on screen, and once again it maps out along the neck in these patterns. There you go, the different fingerings that I used for the C Lydian mode when I was playing over the chord sequence, and here's what it sounded like. So then after that B section, we go back to the A section again. Here it is again on screen. And the thing about this is, as we established earlier, it's in the Mixolydian mode. Now, the Mixolydian mode is a very bluesy sounding mode. You know, it's got that kind of blues thing going on. can imagine playing over that with that kind of deal there, you know, which is exactly what I did. In order to get like a bluesy sound over this E mixolydian chord sequence, all you got to do is use the wrong scale, you know. It's basically the minor pentatonic. You heard the E major pentatonic earlier on over that chord sequence. It sounded absolutely fine and dandy. What about the E minor pentatonic? Well, anybody who's ever played blues knows that you can play a minor pentatonic scale over like a major or a dominant chord and get a bluesy sound. There's E minor pentatonic on screen, and once again it maps out along the neck like this. And you'll notice when you hear the bit of the solo in a moment that whenever I'm landing on the G note, there's one there for example, I'm bending that slightly sharp. Because that's essentially another little blues trick there, bending the minor third of the minor pentatonic towards the major third in the tonality. Anyway, here's what that E minor pentatonic sounded like over the top of the A section chord sequence. So there you have it. That's how I played over this kind of shifting sands, modal, static bass kind of chord sequence. It's a great way, I think, of you know, writing a tune, this kind of chord sequence. As I said in the original video on this, it's been used by everybody from Joe Satriani to Wishbone Ash to Miles Davis. So, you know, it's quite popular amongst various genres of music, and that is essentially how you can play over this sort of thing. Have fun. And needless to say, I was using my utterly wonderful Scott Guitars John Robson's signature model in all of that. Link to Scott Guitars website down in the description. Fantastic guitars. Can't recommend them highly enough. And indeed, yes, go and check them out. Anyway, there is, of course, a full tab in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats along with that clip that you've just seen there of me explaining the video, the solo rather, and the video of me playing the solo, and a jam track to play along with, and all good stuff. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, and the link is of course in the description. And that is pretty much it for today. I guess I don't think there's anything else I need to remind you about. Oh yes, of course, the live stream, 5 PM UK time on Fridays. You know what that's all about. It's just beer and chat for an hour at 5 o'clock on a Friday. Great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there. But that's pretty much all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.